Welcome back, Cubs. Direwolf here. Today, I'm going to introduce you to a scumbucket named Gazi Kodzo. I assume most of you know that Gazi is an insufferable and unapologetic racist and black nationalist. But just in case you haven't had the misfortune of seeing one of his videos, I'm going to give you a quick overview of all of his videos so far before I go on to responding to his most recent bout of verbal diarrhea. Let's start off by saying Gazi, who lives a very privileged lifestyle, thinks that all black men are oppressed by all white people all around the world. And he believes all white people, whether they are racist or not, or whether they have oppressed black people or not, owe reparations to all black people.
So you heard it here. If you are ready, if you are white, male Saxon, okay, totally skin complexion individual, saltine American, and you are ready to join the revolution, where can you go?
You can go to uhurusolidarity.org and click on the red button that says pay reparations.
Now. And pay those reparations when?
Now.
Reparations?
Now.
Uhuru?
Uhuru.
And he is followed by and supported by these white guilt-filled, cuckold social justice warriors who actually preach his anti-white rhetoric. It is insane that he lives in America and he thinks that black men and women have less rights than white men and women, where in some cases they're shown preference. And it's insane to say that people who have done nothing wrong to black people should be obligated to give money to make up for the wrongs made many generations ago by other people that are not them. The America of today is not the same America of 10 generations ago. The people now have never owned slaves. Black people now are not treated as less than human, and white people now are not oppressing or taking resources from black people. We don't owe you shit. On top of that insanity, Gazi actually praises cop killers as heroes.
X, Gavin Long, Uhuru comrades, Uhuru brothers, rest in power. You have now joined the elite list of, Mark Mata Essex, okay, Christopher Donner, Robert Charles, Micah X, Gavin Long, okay? These are brothers, okay?
Yes, these violent criminals and murderers are his brothers. He openly advocates the overthrow of quote-unquote colonial white culture and the racial genocide of white people. This is why he's commonly called the Black Hitler or Blitler. I also want to point out he has no clue how to shoot video with his phone. Half this dumbass's videos are shot vertically.
No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes.
In addition to having some of the most vile and toxic ideas ever expressed on YouTube, and being a terrible videographer, he's also possibly the most frustratingly annoying person to ever watch. And for some inexplicable reason, he is in denial that he's gay.
So, anyways, I'm here to tell you, like the title says, I'm not gay. Hell no, girl. Hell no, I ain't gay. Girl, I ain't gay. Hell no. I am SGL, which is same gender loving, which is an African social construct created for and by Africans, and we'll talk more about that later. But first, let me tell you why I'm not gay. First and foremost, gay is a European social construct created by Neanderthal Tom cave beast sociopath parasites for Neanderthal Tom cave beast sociopathic parasites, okay?
He hates white people so much he doesn't even want to share a word that describes a sexual preference with white people. Blitler, you can create as many new words as you want, but people are still going to call you by what word describes you. Just ask Michael Rowlands. Blitler, you are flamboyantly gay. Everyone knows you're gay. You're not same gender loving, you're just gay. And it's fine that you're gay, but it really says something about you that you're not willing to share a term with white people. You hate white people so much you don't have any kind of association to them. And it's even more than that. Gazi believes that any relationship between a black person and a white person is rape, and the white person is always raping the black person because he believes that no matter how much money they make, no matter how much influence they have, the white person is always the oppressor and the black person is always the oppressed.
We understand that we live in a world that is built off of white power, and that white people are up here with this power. African people are oppressed every day by this power. African people speak, you cannot say that you love your white partner because you are not on equal playing fields. Would you speak English if it wasn't for the oppression of your white partner? Would you think the way if it wasn't for you going through the school system of your white partner? You can't even say you love a white person. You can't say you love your white husband or white wife. You can't say you love your white girlfriend or white boyfriend, because you're not in you don't live in an equal world. You don't have an equal relationship. So I'm sorry to tell you, when it comes to African internationalism, when it comes to the way I see interracial relationships, when it comes to an African and a white person being together, it's rape.
That is insane. There's many people who are obviously far more mentally evolved than you are that have seen past their race and have fallen in love with someone who is black or white, the opposite race of themselves. And there's far more people like myself who live their life with a colorblind philosophy, where individual people are not judged by their race or their origin but by their merit. Your race doesn't matter to me anything more than a visual description of you. It shouldn't matter to anyone, because what really matters are your words and your actions. And Gazi's actions have been destructive and divisive, as words have been racist and anti-Semitic.
Okay, so this is what I tweeted. I said, what white, aka fake Jews, don't want you to know is that the first German Holocaust was black and white Jews helped.
He calls them fake Jews because they aren't black, and he thinks that the original Jews and the only true Jews are black. If you ever watch his channel, you'll see hours upon hours of him saying how much he hates white people and how people shouldn't work for white people, shouldn't talk to white people, shouldn't live with white people. He even has gone out to give food to the homeless, but only gave it to black homeless people and laughed at white homeless people when they came up to ask for food. Here's some of his demented thoughts on living with white people.
Okay, listen, y'all. Listen, my young African people, I need to tell you something, a life lesson. Don't ever live with a motherfucking cave beast. Don't live with white people. Don't live with the male Saxon. Do not have a male Saxon roommate. If you go to college and they give you a male Saxon roommate, bitch, transfer to Howard University. White people are the worst people to live with. They fucking dirty. They fucking dirty, okay? They stink and they fucking needy, okay?
Gazi's entire worldview and argument is based on hatred and bigotry. Not only does he despise all white people and wish genocide upon them, he wishes harm to come to any black person who sees whites as equal or who doesn't prescribe to his evil ideology. If you're a black person and you don't see white people as the enemy, and you don't see yourself as a victim, and you don't have the same twisted worldview as he, then you are his enemy.
This is how fucked up colonized people are. And this is why you can't follow every black and person of color who wants to talk about activism, because they on some white liberal bullshit. They on some white hippie bullshit. They out there fucking tripping balls, hugging trees while we dying out here. And it's time to get motherfucking organized and motherfucking militant and motherfucking ready. Okay? But you out here talking about equality, reform, we have to respect all motherfucking lives. Bitch, one thing I do know is to get free, a lot of niggas gonna have to die, because a lot of niggas like y'all are gonna stand to defend white power the same way you fucking defending a colonizer. A fucking colonizer.
So that is Gazi, a very small-minded, unapologetic racist, a very hateful little man who believes in black supremacy and white genocide. So it should come of no surprise when the Chicago kidnapping happened, and 4 young black adults kidnapped another white adult who has mental disabilities, and then tortured him for 48 hours. When they partially scalped him, cut him, put out cigarettes on him, and made him drink toilet water, and beat him for 48 hours, he, of course, had a defense for the 4 young black adults. Of course, he posted a video saying it was all the white man's fault, and these 4 black adults were correct to kidnap this man and torture him. Here is that video.
Equality, y'all.
Go fuck yourself. And you don't speak African. You were not raised in Africa, you did not learn the language, you only know a few random African words from one of the many languages. You're no more African than a bowl of white rice.
So, Huru, my name is Gazi Kodzo, and I am a leader in the African People's Socialist Party.
And that dumbass behind you has no testicles. Also, we can add to the list of dumb things you've said that not only are you a racist, you also prescribe to the least effective government system ever created by humans. How consistent of you. You are wrong about everything you believe.
And this over here, this male Saxon, toilet seat complexion individual, is actually my comrade. Oh my God, crazy, right? He's my comrade, and his name is
Jesse.
Gazi, after all you've said and done, we all know that he is not your comrade. In fact, he's just a very weak-minded tool that you are using.
And he is
National Chair of Uhuru Solidarity Movement.
Being the leader of a group of self-loathing, weak-minded morons is nothing to be proud of.
Uhuru. So, Jesse, have you heard some of my people kidnapped one of your people, put him in a tub and beat him up a little bit. You know, they scraped him up a little bit, tied him, went on live streaming stuff about it. Have you heard about it?
Torturing someone live on Facebook, no matter what their race, no matter what their mental capabilities, is not funny. A similar event with the roles reversed took place last December, and that wasn't okay. It wasn't funny. It was just as wrong. The reason why 2 white college students beating up a mentally retarded black college student didn't make the news is because it wasn't streamed live on Facebook. Both events make me angry, but the problem with you is the only event that would bother you is the one where the black person was harmed. You don't value white lives. In fact, you hate them. But at the same time, you want people to value black lives. Either Either all lives are equally valuable or you're a bigot.
I did. I heard about it.
Crazy, right?
Crazy, sickening, psychopathic, and a product of hateful rhetoric like yours.
But actually, it's not so crazy since, your people built an entire capitalist, imperialist society on top of my people.
American society was built by the blood, sweat, and tears of many different people from many different races. And this society has provided a great amount of opportunity and prosperity for all people, including black people. This society has black business owners, black millionaires, and black people at all levels of government, even a black president. In the past, there were mistakes, but today, America is good for black people. You are not oppressed, and white people are not your enemy. Or at least they shouldn't be, but sometimes enemies are the ones you create. If you want to create white enemies, laughing at the pain of a white person is a great place to start.
You want to talk about kidnapping and torture. Can we talk about the almost 700 years of kidnapping and torture of African people?
Can we talk about black slave traders and warring African tribes enslaving each other to sell them to white people? How about we talk about white slaves? Or how about the enslavement of the Israelites? How far back does your outrage go?
The reason why I'm here speaking English in this fluent white girl tongue right now, okay?
Because you choose to be here. You could always go back to Africa, but you know your life there would be nothing like the way it is now. This society that you hate so much has been so good to you, and you know that. That's why you're still here. You just like being the victim. You just like the attention. That's why you act so freaking flamboyant.
Is because my people, was kidnapped and tortured and was put into this system, okay?
And those crimes were not solely committed by white people. They're committed by black people as well. Not that it matters today, because none of those people are alive today. You cannot blame someone for the crimes of their fathers or their fathers' fathers or the fathers' fathers' fathers.
So if you want to talk about kidnapping and torture, then you need to talk about what built the United States of America, which was kidnapping and torturing, okay? And the torturing that goes on right now in America.
What torture is happening right now? Please point to me somewhere in our culture where innocent black people are being systematically abducted and tortured. And then show to me how our culture would be even remotely approving of that. You can't, because our culture doesn't randomly abduct and torture black people and is also not approving of that. The sad fact is that most of the problems in black culture are not caused by white people, they are self-inflicted by black people. Gazi, when you perpetuate a culture that devalues white life and teaches black people they do not belong in a culture with white people, you encourage lawless behavior that results in more black people in jail, more black people killed by cops, more racial tension, and more black poverty.
When we have to watch television and see our children being murdered in the streets, being murdered in the playgrounds, being murdered in beds.
Black people kill white people far more than white people kill black people, and our culture does not approve of either.
Getting their water poisoned.
Gazi's referring to the Flint, Michigan water crisis, which, by the way, Flint, Michigan is 56% black and about 40% white. The Flint, Michigan water crisis wasn't caused by someone trying to poison anyone. It was caused by someone in government trying to save a bunch of money at the cost of cutting corners. Flint, Michigan actually is a great example of some of the effects of liberal policies, but it has nothing to do with racism.
Having their daddies and mommies pushed into these mass incarceration prisons, which is just, slavery 2.0.
More black people commit crimes than other races, not because of genetics, but because more of them grow up in a culture that is lawless in nature. This culture is created by generations of poverty and government dependence, breakdown of the family, and poor education. And people like you, Gazi. If you're looking for slavery 2.0, don't look at all white people, don't look at Western culture. You might want to look at the Democrat Party, because you keep voting for them and your situation hasn't changed.
That's torture, okay? When you push a people and you take our resources away, our gold, our minerals, our diamonds, our land away, and then force us to be, submissive to you just to get a welfare motherfucking check, okay?
Do you see how fucked up your mentality is? First off, no one's stolen any gold or diamonds from you. And second, why is your aspiration to get a welfare check? Why isn't your focus to get educated and trained so you can get a good job and become wealthy? If you really want that quote-unquote white man's money, why don't you just work for it? Nothing's stopping you. Many very wealthy black people have done that.
That is torture, when we have to fight amongst each other just to live. When we have to rob each other just to live, just to eat. That's what you call torture.
It is not white people's fault that you find it morally okay to steal from or to harm other black people when you are suffering, that you're willing to pass the suffering on to other people. It is you that makes the choice to, instead of working for something you need, to steal it from someone else. You can't pass the blame off to white people. You chose to do that.
Okay, so this whole moral equivalency that the colonial media, when I say colonial media, I mean cracker media, white media, imperialist media, white power media, capitalist media, that's what we're talking about, right, Jesse?
Yeah.
Jesse, you're such a miserable excuse for a man. It's really embarrassing for all of us.
And tell the people why Why is the colonized people and the colonizer people not equal in this situation? Because what they're trying to depict is these 4 African teenagers are just bad, horrible people, and this innocent white man. There's no such thing as an innocent white man, Jesse. Can you tell that to the people?
Oh, so white people are automatically guilty. Now, if you were to have someone say the same thing about black people, that would be racist. But somehow you don't see yourself as being racist.
Yes, I mean, every dream and aspiration of every white person comes at the expense of every African person.
Shut up, Jesse, you don't even make sense. Just because a white guy has the dream of becoming a great basketball player doesn't mean someone who's black doesn't get the same opportunity.
In this country and on this planet, we are a colonizer population. We live on the backs of African people. So when an African person whose backs we sit on rises up and tries to push us off, that is not the same. You cannot judge that with the same moral compass as you would the behavior of the one who's been lynching and murdering and raping African people for hundreds of years.
2 problems there, you dumb cuck. First, our culture is not murdering and lynching black people. And second, no matter what someone else may have done in the past to a black person, nothing makes it morally acceptable to kidnap and to torture an innocent person who was not involved in those actions in the past. Gazi, your ancestors kidnapped, raped, and killed other black people. Do you owe reparations to yourself? Do you deserve to be punished for their crimes?
Exactly, Jesse. Exactly. And then this whole depiction of, oh, but he was mentally ill. He was mentally ill. Colonizers can be mentally ill and you're still a freaking colonizer. And I don't really take mental illness or disabilities of white people very seriously because you know white people, they sneeze twice and all of a sudden they mentally ill and they got prescription drugs and shit and they on Jenny Craig and Oprah and shit talking about what they've survived and shit. So I don't even believe that. If you want to talk about mental illness, talk about African people who don't know where we come from, don't know our land, don't know our language, don't have access to our own resources. Talk about that, okay?
Africa is not your country, and you do not own its resources. If you want to go there, you're gonna need a fucking passport. Gazi is a despicable excuse for a human being. I have zero respect for him and anyone who believes in his hateful and racist words. And for all of you brain-dead social justice warriors who say that black people cannot be racist, they can only be bigoted, look at him. Gazi is a racist, and if you don't see that, you're a fucking moron. The reason why I covered so much about him and showed different clips from so many different videos is I don't think I ever need to respond to him again. After this, it's very plain to see he has zero credibility. After all he's said and all he's done, there's no video he could produce and no words he could say that would have any value. I will waste no more time and no more energy on a piece of shit like Gazi. I don't produce videos to wreck people. I don't do it for entertainment alone. I want to produce counter arguments, and he has no argument. He only has hate and racism. So there's no point for me to respond to him over and over and over again. Gazi, just like his own arguments, is worthless and one-dimensional. And continually returning to his videos to respond to his videos only gives him what he craves the most. That's attention. Thank you for watching the video. If you guys want to make any suggestions, please go to my website linked in the description, and there is a forum there where you can suggest topics for me to cover in the future. I scheduled this video in advance, so by the time you guys are watching this, I've already left for my deployment. But don't worry guys, you only gotta suffer through a few host videos, and in a couple weeks, I'll be back making my own content again. Also, a huge thank you to all you Cubs out there for getting me over 2,000 subs. I really appreciate it. Direwolf, out.